Today is the divine disappearance, Tirubhav, of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. His pranam prayers are as follows: Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Namane. I offer my pranam, which means prayers, to Om Vishnu Pad Sri Srimati Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Thakur Prabhupada, who in this world is most dear to Krishna. Second one, Sri Vishabhanavi Devi Daitaya Kripandaya Krishna Sambandha Vigina Daine Prabhave Namaha. I offer my pranams to Sri Vishabhanavi Daita Das, the manifestation of an ocean of mercy, and it bestows realization of our eternal relationship with Krishna. So this name, Vishabhanavi Daita, was Srila Bhaktisiddhanta's initiated name prior to taking sannyas, given to him by Srila Gokishore Das Babaji Maharaj, approximately 1900, when Srila Bhaktisiddhanta took initiation from Srila Gokishore Das Babaji Maharaj. Third one, Madhya Dwala Premadya Shri Rupanuga Bhakti Da Shri Gora Karuna Shakti Vigraha Namostatu. O Srila Saraswati Thakur, you deliver Rupanuga Bhakti, which is enriched with Ujjvala Madhurya Prem. You are the embodiment of the mercy, potency of Sri Gauranga. From pranams unto you. And the fourth one, Namaste Gauravani Srimotai Dinatarane Rupanuga Viruddha Sapadanta Dwanta Harane. For obeisances unto you, the embodiment of Sri Gauranga's message. You deliver the fallen and remove the darkness of philosophical misconceptions, which are opposed to the precepts taught by Srila Rupa Goswami. We are extremely fortunate as members of ISKCON to be connected to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. For myself, he is my Param Guru. For the vast number of members of ISKCON, he is their, I think it's Param Prapta Param Guru, etc. But the point is, we're connected to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. This is the point. When our Srila Prabhupada first met Srila Bhaktisiddhanta in 1922 at Old Dingo Road, I just played the tape actually, or one of the tapes, where Prabhupada was talking about his Guru Maharaj. And he said, officially, I was not initiated, but internally I accepted him. That was in 1922. Then, of course, he took initiation 1932 in Allahabad. So, being the follower means to accept the outward ritual we call initiation, ceremony, etc. But the real thing is to accept internally the mood, the instructions, and the aspirations of personalities like Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. His instructions are more important than his activities. We can use the example of Krishna's instructions, Savadhamam Parityaja, just surrender to me. But if we follow Krishna's activities, then we're going to get in trouble if we do a rasa dance midnight on Durban Beach. We're going to get in trouble if we try to lift Drakensberg Mountain as he lifted Govardhan Hill. So the instructions are more important than the actual activities. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was a revolutionary preacher. He was a firebrand and created many enemies. In 1925, actually, they tried to kill him. There was a bribe of 25,000 rupees given to the local police, which in those days was a lot of money. And there was an attempt on his life, but it was foiled because Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj, who looked very similar to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, changed clothes with him, etc. And so the whole thing was resolved. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, on the other hand, was a more cautious reformer, somewhat more sensitive or delicate. At that time, it was required. But Srila Bhaktisiddhanta was of a different nature, and we could use the word firebrand. So Srila Prabhupada also became that firebrand and preached all over the world. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, question may be, how do I serve him? Well, you can serve him as we conceive of him in his apparent sadhak form. I say apparent because it's not really sadhak. It's a siddha form, but we saw him as somewhat thin, wearing glasses, etc. And obviously he would want us to distribute books, the printing press. As Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, real service to Navadvip Dham is not personal bhajan, but to establish printing press, publish books and namahatas. So we can serve Srila Bhaktisiddhanta. The best way we can serve him is by serving his representative. And for us, that representative is Srila Prabhupada. So it's very clear what Prabhupada wanted. Food distribution, prasadam distribution, farms, preaching, Harinam, the list goes on. So by pleasing Prabhupada, then Bhaktisiddhanta is pleased. And then Gokishore, then Bhaktivinoda, all the way to Rupa and Raghunath. So this is our system. It is nice to know more about Srila Bhaktisiddhanta's life. Those who are serious and keen to understand the mood of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta should read Bhaktisiddhanta Vaibhav, 3 volumes, by our esteemed godbrother, Bhakti Vikash Maharaj. Extremely well written, very well researched, very authoritative, and very objective. So from that, there's a list of 21 sannyas disciples of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta. He also gave Babaji to 13 of his disciples. So we offer our pranam prayers to all these disciples, not just His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, to have the idea that Srila Bhaktisiddhanta was only able to produce one Mahabhagavad, or only had one Mahabhagavad, is not correct. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta had many powerful, highly advanced disciples, such as Srila Sridhar Maharaj, who was known as the intellectual giant, Srila Bhakti Vaibhav Puri Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Maharaj, who was there when Srila Bhaktisiddhanta passed away. Narahari Prabhu, described as the mother of the Gaudiya Math, Dr. Sanyal from Odisha. He was a professor, and he gave all of his wages, 800 rupees a month, to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta would send him back 200 rupees. He also suffered from severe migraines, but he would write articles, and Srila Bhaktisiddhanta would sign his name at the end of the articles. Then, of course, Bhakti Pradip Tirtha Maharaj, Bhakti Vilas Tirtha Maharaj, Vivek Bharati Maharaj. Also, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta referred to two of his disciples as Jivan Mukta Mahapurush, Bhakti Vaibhav Sagara Maharaj and Shivu Puri Maharaj. Shivu Puri Maharaj would not eat or drink water until he chanted 1 lakh of rounds a day. But, of course, for us, as members of ISKCON, Srila Prabhupada is the most important disciple or representative of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta. But that doesn't mean we can't respect and acknowledge other great Vaishnavas. This should be clearly understood. So, what do we pray to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur for? Prem Prayojana, the ultimate goal, love of Krishna. Love of Krishna in Vrindavan is considered to be superior. So we pray that he can inspire us to move in that direction of Braja Bhakti. So this introduces the other idea that we can worship Srila Bhaktisiddhanta in his prakat form, as we knew him, and various pictures of him, and his aprakat form, as an eternal associate of Radha and Krishna. We have information according to our Gaudiya tradition that Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Bhima Prasad, is eternal associate of Radha and Krishna, and actually a young maidservant gopi, very much affiliated or attached to the service of Radharani. So, of course, to worship Srila Bhaktisiddhanta in that mood, one has to be somewhat spiritually advanced. But this is our ultimate destination. So we serve him in his prakat, and we serve him in his aprakat form. Two sides of a coin, we cannot separate them. So on the lower stage, if you like, non-liberated stage, then we preach, we engage in enthusiastic book distribution, food for life, and trying to organize ISKCON in the various countries and different parts of the world. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur would be very pleased with this. He'd be overjoyed. And when we develop by mercy, by kripa, to a higher stage, specifically as Shakti, we can begin to understand our own Sarup. And then when we begin to understand our own Sarup, we can actually serve Srila Bhaktisiddhanta in his Sarup. We can't serve him in his Sarup if we don't know what is our Sarup. So we have to move in that direction. But this takes time and primarily requires mercy. As Srila Bhaktisiddhanta himself said, that kripa or mercy is more important than endeavor. But that doesn't minimize endeavor. We have to continue trying, rising early, following morning program, following the different principles of Samanya Bhakti. Samanya means general Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, as taught by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, as taught by Srila Prabhupada, as taught by Srila Gaur Govinda Maharaj, and all the Vaishnavacharyas. We have to diligently follow this with enthusiasm, utsahan, Nishtaya Daya, and ultimately tried to go from Bhajana Kriya to Anatana Vritti, higher, to Nishta, and then to Ruchi. And then when Ruchi becomes more mature, it comes into advanced Ruchi or beginning of Shakti. And at that stage, we can have some slight conception of our service in the spiritual world and these great personalities in our Guru Parampara. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, Gokishore, Bhaktivinoda, Vishwanath, Baladev, Rupan, Raghunath, etc. And this is actually the ultimate goal. So this comes by mercy. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur wanted to give this mercy out, and Srila Prabhupada became the instrument for preaching not only in the Western world, but also back in India. And now there's a complete revival of Krishna consciousness all over the world. So we humbly pray to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur that he can enliven us. We can feel enthused, utsahan, to continue our practice of bhakti, our personal practice, chanting, rising early, reading, attending the morning program, which Srila Prabhupada stressed so much, carefully reading Prabhupada's books, which include the Tika or commentaries of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta and Bhaktivinoda and Vishwanath and Sridhar Maharaj. And then after we've carefully read these, not read, but actually studied and digested them, we can cautiously attempt to read Goswami books, Jaivedhamma in particular by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, other books also, Stavali, Stavamali, Vidagdha Madhava, Lalita Madhava. Very carefully we study and read these books, but only first after we've read all of Prabhupada's books, which are presented by our BBT. Especially we read Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam Amrita, Brihad Bhagavatam Amrita, etc. And then this combined with deep chanting of 16 rounds or more rounds. Why limit it to just 16 rounds? Chant more. And enthusiastically engaging in Srila Prabhupada's preaching mission, personal preaching mission, the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. We can attract mercy from Srila Prabhupada, Bhaktisiddhanta, and the previous Guru Vaga. Guru Vaga meaning Guru elders. And in a very natural way, we can develop taste, ruchi, and a ruchi becomes our shakti. And then at a certain point, Shuddha descends, which is a combination of Samvit, Ladini, or Sarup Shakti. And then we can understand more clearly, although in this material body, we can understand more clearly our spiritual identity in Vrindavan, referred to as Akadasi Bhav. And then at the time of death, will be transferred to Lord Krishna's pastimes within this Brahmanda. Sorry, within a Brahmanda, not necessarily this Brahmanda. This Brahmanda, Krishna appeared 5,000 years ago, Lord Chaitanya 500 years ago. But now the Lord's pastimes are going on in another Brahmanda. So will be transferred by the arrangement of Yogamaya to this other Brahmanda, but within the material world, where we'll continue to advance due to the association of Lord Chaitanya's associates or Lord Krishna's associates in Vrindavan. And in that association, we go higher. And then when those pastimes are finished, we return to the spiritual world, Goloka Vrindavan. And then again, if we're particularly attached to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, we can be in his group, or Bhaktivinoda Thakur's group. We would assume Srila Prabhupada is in the group of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta. But many things may be there in the spiritual world, and only when we get there will we actually understand. It can be quite confusing at times how Rupa Goswami, who's Rupa Manjari, is in Lalita's group, whereas Raghunath Das Goswami, who's Rati Manjari, is in Vishaka's group. So all these things are a little not so easy to understand, but by revelation, anubhuti, realization, these things will come. So this is the mercy Srila Bhaktisiddhanta was given through Srila Prabhupada. And now it's coming through Srila Prabhupada's sincere disciples and grand disciples. Anyone who is sincerely and seriously serving Srila Prabhupada's mission and instructions acts as a via medium for his mercy. The more that person affiliates themselves or becomes, the word is one with Prabhupada's instructions and mood, then the more mercy can flow through that person. So we should try diligently to please those disciples, grand disciples of Srila Prabhupada, who are honestly, sincerely, and seriously serving him. And then by pleasing them, we can please Prabhupada. And then Prabhupada offers this service to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, and it goes all the way up our Guru Parampara. His Divine Grace, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur ki jai. His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jagannath Subhaja Balaram ki jai. Shishi Radha Radhanath ki jai. Shishi Nitai Gaura Hari ki jai. And down Nitai Nitai Gaura Hari ki jai. Gau Premanandi Hari Hari Bo. Oh, glories to the Vaishnavas. Vancha Kalpatrubhyascha, Kripa Sindhubhyevacha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo, Namo Namaha, Namo Namaha.